to me, it's just hard not to see all this stuff and see it as a way of taking any power away from the consumer of what they can, spend their money on, what they can watch, what they can view. And I don't think it's for any purposeful reason. I don't think it's for like an agenda. I think it's just purely to take the power away from the consumer. So at the beginning of this month, it was announced that PlayStation is going to end making physical discs for their games by January 2028. That's when it's going to start, and people aren't liking it, not one bit. And it's no surprise just because of how the gaming industry is going when it comes to ownership of these games, because what they are trying to do and what they have been doing, like this isn't something new, they've been doing this for a while now, is that they are trying to make it harder for consumers to really own the product that they come out with. They want to have complete control over it so that it's no longer ownership of the media. It is renting, it is loaning, it is borrowing. And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. So here I have from the PlayStation blog, physical disc production ending in January 2028 for new games releasing on PlayStation consoles. And if you think this is going to start and end with PlayStation, it is not. This also comes after the announcement that GTA 6 will cost about $80. Now this I believe is pound. Well, no, yeah, it says right here, essentially $80 and $100 for its standard and premium versions in the US. Insane. And it has also been announced that there will not be a disc with it. Instead, it will be like a little piece of paper with a code on it that you can put into the store. It is insane. And just from price alone, as it says right here, when it launched in 2013, GTA 5 cost $59.99 for the standard edition, which is still a lot. But like, it's insane how more expensive these games are getting, because it's not like Rockstar needs to be worried about the sales of GTA game. Even if they made the game $30, it would still be pretty profitable. It would still be very profitable. It would probably even be more profitable, because I feel like, despite how hyped up this game is, a lot of people probably aren't going to be open to really buying it just because of the price alone. And look, I'm not saying that it's not going to sell completely well. I just think that pricing it this high, like the only reason you would price it this high is because people are going to pay for it anyways. But it's still just gross to me. Again, like I still think people will buy it regardless, but I feel like there's going to be a fair amount of people who are going to look at this and be like, maybe not, maybe I'll hold off. We'll see. Maybe I'll wait for a sale at the very least. And I can't blame them. Like, Jesus Christ, this is getting out of hand. And I don't know where we're going to go with this, because at the end of the day, the only way that this stops is by immense pushback. And I feel like that is kind of what we're seeing now. I believe, from what I've seen, PlayStation has not made a post on Twitter since this announcement, because they know how bad this comes across. They made like a post yesterday, so they didn't post anything for like a couple days since the announcement. Yeah, they made the post on July 1st, this one, the important announcements, and then 6 days later, almost a week, they were like, yeah, maybe we can safely post again. Hopefully nobody really is paying attention. I want to see the replies to this. I want to see what people are saying. Did someone order a digital pizza? Give us physical disc. They tweeted, get them. We want to own our games. Yeah, people are not going to let this go. People don't want to be renting games. They want to own the games. And this is not something that is only happening with video games in general. Obviously, there's streaming services that do the same thing, where it's like you pay for a service to watch a movie or a show that we have licensing over, and then sometimes it might just go away. It might just leave the service altogether. And just like video games, sometimes it's almost impossible to even find a certain movie that you want to watch. Like, I am a wrestling fan, and recently I was curious to check out some episodes of ECW's Hardcore TV, like the show that ECW used to do before they were bought out by WWE. Now, you used to be able to watch it on the WWE Network, which was their streaming service for WWE and all of like the properties that they own, like WCW. I believe there was some like older wrestling stuff in that on there as well. And I was curious. I was like, you know what? I want to check out some of these older episodes, see what I missed out since it was before my time. And I couldn't find it. Like, I literally looked up ECW where to watch. And at first it sent me to Peacock because after WWE shut down its network, they shut it down because they were moving all their stuff to Peacock. I was like, okay, maybe it's still on there. No, but that's mostly because WWE, years after they started the deal with Peacock, moved their stuff to Netflix. But Netflix doesn't have the ECW stuff. It doesn't really have a lot of the WWE stuff that used to be on Peacock, which was already a downgrade for what was on the network, which was everything. Like, these companies, I can only imagine they're purposely trying to make it harder to view their product. I don't know why, because I don't see any upside to it. It's the same reason why, like, when all that stuff was happening with HBO Max, where a lot of like the Cartoon Network shows were being pushed off, or just when in general stuff that they own already were being taken off HBO Max. And it's like, why? You own this stuff. There is no reason as to why this stuff should be taken off. There's no licensing fee. Like, there's no deal that you made to get this stuff on it. You own it. You don't have to do this stuff. I don't understand it. It's mind-boggling that we have so many of these streaming services owned by all these different companies, and yet when they have no excuse to not make some material available, like not make some content available, they'll still just remove it. It's like, yeah, we have all ownership over this product. We can choose whether or not we want to have it on our service, and we're choosing not to. But also, we expect you to pay our inflated price for the service, even though we're definitely making enough money to get by. To me, it's just hard not to see all this stuff and see it as a way of taking any power away from the consumer of what they can, spend their money on, what they can watch, what they can view. And I don't think it's for any purposeful reason. I don't think it's for like an agenda. I think it's just purely to take the power away from the consumer, because there's always the alternative option of physical media. And with PlayStation Now and with GTA 6, we're seeing that option being stripped away. And that's going to happen to movies too. Like, movies and shows, what's going to happen there is that, like GTA 6, there's not going to be a disc. There's going to be a code that you could put into, like, I don't know, put Google Play or whatever, Apple TV, whatever movie purchasing service that you can just put in there, and then they'll be like, okay, we're licensing you this movie. We're licensing you the show, even though you paid for a physical copy. Like, you paid to own that copy of the show, but they want to remove the disc so that instead of something that you can physically own, that you can physically insert to a machine, that they can't really tamper. Like, there's no way they could like tamper with a DVD to the point where it's like, once you use it once, it just dissolves in your hand. So that way it's just like, well, now you just don't own it anymore. But with a code, with something that you had to put into an online service or in order to get something, because now that's just a part of the service. It's not a part of something that you own anymore. They have complete control over it, and they can take it away whenever they want. And again, I just don't see the purpose for it. I just feel like it's a power play from these billionaires, from these corporate overlords, of just being like, hey, just so you know, you don't own anything. We own you. We own the content that you watch. We own everything. And don't forget, what are the positives here? Because obviously people are not going to like this. So I could only see it as a power play. But I mean, we'll see. I feel like we'll only really see a lot of like big momentum towards stopping this stuff when it comes to other media getting affected by this, because I don't feel like this is going to stop at video games, nor do I think that the major push is going to come from like the video game community, because most people just kind of buy their games digitally already. Personally, I'm also one of them. That is something that I will admit, even though I do prefer physical media most of the time. But when it comes to gaming, I mostly play on my PC nowadays, so like I don't have a DVD reader on my PC, so it makes sense. But even then, like, Steam is going to happen there too. They're going to start enacting this sort of stuff as well, where it's just like, yeah, you bought the game on Steam, but really it's just a licensing thing. You don't really own it. Doesn't matter if it's downloaded to your PC. We can just strip it away whenever we want because you have to go through Steam to play the game anyways. But like with movies and shows, usually I like to own the shows and movies that I watch. Obviously, I also use Netflix and streaming services as well for stuff that I just can't buy physically, because like that was also something with the ECW stuff that I was talking about earlier. When I couldn't find it anywhere on any of the streaming services available, I was like, all right, let me see if there's like a physical copy of ECW episodes that I could possibly get. No, nothing I could really find, at least when it comes to a reasonable price, because I'm not going to be spending a lot of money because I don't really have a lot of money to spend. And that's the thing, it's just like with these moves, physical media is going to get way more expensive as we see it slowly just devolve over time into just pieces of paper with codes on it. Like this whole GTA 6 thing, you might as well not even buy a physical copy. You might as well just buy it digitally and then on a piece of paper, write down, I bought GTA 6, and then put it on your bookshelf where you would have put your physical copy. That's what you might as well do, because that's essentially the same thing. Like, there's really no difference, because, like, outside of just owning a box with a game title on it, what do you really get out of that? You don't get any physical ownership over it outside of a single box. And who knows, with the rate that we're going to, that will also be something that you're licensing out. You only get to have the box with nothing in it but a piece of paper for like 6 months, and then they'll just take it away. It was like, well, you already put the code in, so you don't really need this, do you? We'll just take that. Yeah, it's just insane. Like, I don't know where we're going to go from this. There needs to be a lot of pushback against this, and I'm happy to see it when it comes to the people in the PlayStation replies. But I find it very hard to see this really getting any sort of momentum until it's already impacted a large amount of media outside of video games. And even then, since a lot of people just use streaming services anyways, I don't know how many people are really going to be paying attention to it. But yeah, that's all I really got to say about this. I want to thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.